Guys, I want to show you something absolutely huge which could literally take Bitcoin to double in price or something even crazier. This has happened so consistently every time, and it's so important that I was about to go to sleep, but I needed to get this video out, and I actually paid $10,000 to make this video, and I'll show you why in just a moment. So if you appreciate that and you want to see more content like this, because this video is going to blow you away, do me a favor and smash up those likes. Subscribe if you're new around here. Here we go. This indicator right here, ASOL, is an extremely critical indicator. I had to pay $10,000 on the Glassnode website to access this tool, and I did it just for this YouTube video. So if that doesn't require a thumbs up, I don't know what does. And really what this is showing us is every time the ASOL indicator here peaks, this is showing us the average age of Bitcoins that are being spent or sold and moved around, right? This is really just a display of Bitcoin moving around. And so the lower the line, the newer the average coins are, in terms of being sent around. And in this case, this implies being sent from, a wallet to an exchange, for example, in order to liquidate Bitcoins. And so this is showing us that, for example, let's just take this peak right here. This is showing us that when when our ASOL right here peaked at this reading of 60, it was pretty much, directly lining up with the highs that we were seeing in the high $60,000 range, showing us that actually, a lot of the older Bitcoins were being moved at this time, implying that they were being sold off at this time, basically showing us that older money, which is usually smarter money, was selling Bitcoin, right? And that's a really important metric, because one of the key things that I talk about on this channel a lot is that smart money is old money, right? It's people that have had money for a long time. A lot of people, they struggle to accept this, and it's basically a fact of life. Generally, the richer people who've had money for a long time are just better with their money, right? And they are the ones that tend to make smarter decisions. And in these markets, making a smarter decision means selling Bitcoin at tops, and not at bottoms. And what you'll see consistently on this chart, right, is that when our ASOL indicator is quite low, it's usually directly before big pumps in the market. And I want to break this down for you before I get on to why. We could literally see Bitcoin doubling off this indicator as well, guys. This is absolutely huge. Before I do get to that, though, this Bybit promotion I've been telling you guys about is going to end very soon. You're going to get up to $4,100 for free just by using my link in the description down below. And if that's not worth checking out, I don't know what is. Literally, all you have to do is sign up to Bybit using my link in the description down below, make your first Bitcoin deposit, and you're going to get free cash. You can take your money out of the exchange after you get the bonus, so it's well worth doing. And of course, if you want to jump inside VIP, you already know the deal. These are the steps on screen if you want to watch me trading in real time. But coming back to this 10K indicator that I paid for, what I want to highlight is the price action that usually kind of hovered around the major peaks on this ASOL indicator, right? So I just want to put a couple vertical lines on this chart showing you the kind of price action that Bitcoin experienced at these peaks, just to really highlight what the old money, which we could consider to be smart money, was doing in these markets. So just in between each of these set of blue lines right here is generally where we started to see the older money moving around in the market, implying that they were going to start selling Bitcoin. And if we look at what happens here, it's generally around kind of major market peaks, right? Another one actually that I missed, which is also quite important, is going to be around over here. Bam, right there, and then another one there, and another one there, and really just generally happening around market peaks, right? This one, was happening, during a lot of the run-up, and understandably so, right? We're talking about old Bitcoins here that are being moved around. If you bought your Bitcoin at like $200, then you're selling it at 30,000. I don't give a fuck that Bitcoin barely came back down to that level. That's a really, really good exit price, and so we're seeing a lot of the older Bitcoins moving around because of that. But just consistently seeing these areas of older Bitcoins being spent generally lining up with major market peaks, right? But the second aspect of this, which is really, really important, and I'll actually highlight this with a different color, is the absolute lows that we were seeing on this chart right here, right? Take a look at this, and I don't really know how to demonstrate this one, but this is probably a good way to do it, and I actually just want to change the color of these lines now to red, to to make this point even clearer, let's just say that this was happening around over here, and you're going to start to see now that generally when this was showing us that the newer Bitcoins were being spent, remember, the lower the ASOL number, the newer the Bitcoins. Look at where we are right now, ladies and gents. Generally, it is around these times. There's even a small trough right here which we can identify. I mean, you know, this is slightly subjective, which is definitely a weakness of this analysis, but I still think that it applies just to make a general point, right? You can't ignore the trend. It's still glaringly obvious that we're seeing these troughs in the ASOL indicator generally lining up with big moves ready to happen in the market, basically showing us that it is generally, and I mean the move is huge on this chart, right? I mean, if you just look at the spikes that we had, for example, the first big one happening kind of between I don't know, a price of about $23,000 all the way up to a price of about $40,000. I know you can't see the numbers very well on the right hand side of the screen, but generally what we were seeing here is a huge increase in old Bitcoins being moved around and actually staying quite high, but generally declining, right? And I think this makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you look at Bitcoin throughout history, right, you know, we're getting these big increases in old Bitcoins kind of being moved about, and I think this is actually a pretty good example, as we get a huge increase right here with this rally that ends at about $300, but the bull market isn't over and the market manages to rally up by another 3x, right? So if we're looking at something like that happening right now, that would put us from this all-time high at $300, $270, to this all-time high at $1,300. I mean, that's more than a 3x, actually. That's about a 4 times gain. So from our previous all-time high, we're looking at 70k times 4, which is an absolutely crazy $280,000 potential Bitcoin target. Anyway, I don't want to get the lotion out just yet. I don't want to start rubbing myself off to this price prediction stuff just yet, because I haven't finished the core of this analysis. The key thing that I really just want to draw your attention to is that every time we see this ASOL indicator drop low, basically showing us that it's only the new Bitcoins being moved around and by extension sold, it generally precedes big moves in the market to the upside, right? So this one wasn't absolutely huge, but from the low to the high, Bitcoin still managed to rally up by 26%. This one is quite important, right? Bitcoin did end up dipping a little bit more after this trough in the ASOL indicator, but generally, I mean, we saw another nice next peak here of plus 55%, or to the all-time high, a peak of plus 100%, right? So very big price increases coming off this. The last time, most recently, that we fell down to these exact levels that we're at right now on this indicator, we saw the price from low to high managing to pump up by 72%. So generally, we've been in for a really nice pump when we see price action like this, and generally accompanied by the ASOL indicator being so low, right? I mean, if we're getting a 55% pump, which is about the most conservative I think we can be in this instance, we're looking at being above $70,000. But if we're looking at, you know, what the previous one, what was this? It was like 100 and something percent, or it was a 70% pump. Yeah, about 72% pump, let's say. If we're looking at this from low to high, this is still going to give us a speculative target of like $78,000, just illustrating that Bitcoin could be in for an absolutely huge pump. You know, from current prices, it's going to be close to doubling if we're going to be hitting even bigger targets, right? Because if you look at what happened right here, this was a very low ASOL reading, showing us that it was really only the new Bitcoins that were being moved around in the market at all. The next major peak that we had was plus 300%. So that was a 4 times gain, right? So again, Bitcoin going from our current price to you know, a factor of 4x higher, that would put us at, from this price, we'd be looking at about, I can't even do the math, it's like 120 to 150k, and from the all-time high, you guys already know, we'd be looking at $280,000. And the point is, it doesn't matter. We're just consistently seeing this indicator line up with big moves in the market, where when it's generally the newer money moving around, you know, that's people panicking, that's people getting very scared. And I think this is an important thing to keep in mind. You know, one of the key arguments that I make on my YouTube channel is very much what this indicator depicts so clearly, is that people who have newer money are generally just worse with managing their money, right? This is the reason that, you know, you see a rich kid make a lot of money on ecom and he blows it all in the strip club or whatever because he's just 18 and he's an absolute idiot and he came from a poor background. He just doesn't know what to do with his money. It's the same reason other people go out and buy supercars and designer clothes and don't manage their funds correctly and they lose it. But you don't generally see that happening with the kids that are born into wealth, because generally they'll have a good education on money if their parents are also good at what they're doing. And so they just have a better appreciation for how to deal with their money, and they have better financial discipline. And that's why this discipline thing is very important. That's why at these peaks, we're generally seeing this line up with major market tops, right? This one, perhaps not so much. This is the single weakest argument I can make for the market, but guys, all throughout this sell-off right here, you can't ignore it. I mean, we're seeing, look, right here, a major peak right here. Look at this major peak in the ASOL indicator. Obviously, a very big peak kind of happening around this range as well, right? So lots of very, very important peaks in this market. Another very big one right here. And they're all consistently lining up with major market tops, right? This one actually happening while the dump was happening, because I think a lot of people really got caught off guard with this dump. For sure. Surprising, because on the channel we were actually expecting this dump to happen, and we were calling every single price target perfectly. Guys, if you were subscribed for that, you will know all about it. And if you haven't already done so, what are you doing? It's time to hit that subscribe button, and make sure you've hit up those likes if you are enjoying this video as well, guys, because this is so important. This is the kind of data which you look at to get really clear views into the market. You know, I don't talk about Glassnode much because I just don't use it much, but this is an absolutely amazing website. Like I said, their tools are really expensive, so you can give me requests if you want me to cover certain things on videos. I'll do that. But this ASOL indicator, I think, really displaying something very important. And if we bring us back to the normal Bitcoin chart I've been looking at, I mean, you know, like I said, one of the main arguments I've been saying in this market is that from the high to the low, Bitcoin has dropped by about 39%. And this is generally in a bull market exactly as low as Bitcoin will fall before recovering beautifully, right? Take a look at this. There's so many examples of this bull market right here, where Bitcoin started rallying from $200 all the way up to this high at $500. If we take a look at how low the market dropped to its absolute low, this low right here, the market dropped by about 41%, right? The very next major peak that we had down to the next major low was also a 40% drop. I can't make this stuff up, guys. It just happens so consistently in this market, really. I think it's very obvious. This one, a little bit less, but we're always looking at a 30 to 40% drop right here. This was a 33% drop. This was a 33% drop. This was a 38% drop. This was a 40% drop, right? And this was a 30% drop. So we're generally seeing these kind of peaks in the market while they stay bullish. I'm sorry, these kind of dumps in the market while they stay bullish. And this one just lines up perfectly. And again, for me, the key thing that I just want to be focusing on right now in order to just not get caught up in the bullshit is, where are the fear and greed indexes taking me right now? You know, I'm seeing a reading of 22 right here. Yesterday we were at 27. We're doing this while, I mean, I was saying this to you in the previous video, ladies and gents, Bitcoin is at support right now. You know, I mean, it was just holding on to it. It wasn't looking amazing. Don't get me wrong. We're not in a good position short term, but we're still at support, right? And I made this joke about how, you know, I saw this meme on Twitter. By the way, guys, if you don't already know, I actually just got verified on Twitter. I don't know if this is going to show up, but take a look at this. This is very important because a lot of people they get scammed, right? I mean, like, I honestly, I don't know how you people get scammed these days. It's going to be 2022 tomorrow, and people still get scammed by impersonators. Anyway, if that's you or you're vulnerable to it or whatever, my Twitter account is verified. My Instagram account is verified. It's also _. Go follow me. They're actually linked in the description down below. Very important to do so, guys, because I never ever DM first, and I don't want you guys to get caught up in those messes. So check it out in the description down below, the like button as well. But you know, I think one of the key things to keep in mind right here is, yeah, I mean, this meme I was making fun out of on Twitter was, you know, do we buy or cry at support levels? And it's funny because a lot of people, they just forget basic, like I said, I mean, like, financial discipline, right? I mean, there is a reason that you don't see old money moving around at major market lows. They just know better. And you know, like, I don't know what you're thinking, but I want to be doing what the rich smart money is doing, right? Like, I want to emulate their actions. The whole reason I even became successful in my life at the very beginning, because I came up from nothing as well, was I just started to look and emulate the actions of the already wealthy people. I wanted to do what they do. I wanted to read the books they were reading. I wanted to study the things they were reading. I wanted to do the things they were doing. And no fucking surprise, it ended up working. It's a principle that works in life, and you better believe it's a principle that works in these markets as well. And that's why I think we're seeing this working out so well. So right now, while we see a huge decrease in the average age of these bitcoins being spent, to me, it is a massive signal to just get ready, right? This is not me saying, and I have to make this very, very clear, this is not me saying that Bitcoin can't dump even more. It absolutely can, right? I mean, this is a very long-term view of the market. I mean, look at this. The ASOL indicator right here dropped to very low levels as Bitcoin was at about $36,000, $37,000, and Bitcoin kept dumping down all the way to a low of $29,000. So, I mean, by this measure, we could literally drop down by another 30%, and my point would still hold, right? The point is just that generally we are at a good point in the market now to just consider that the market could start rising back up. Obviously, none of this stuff is guaranteed, but you have to weigh this up with a little bit of common sense, right? Yes, I'm saying we can drop by, that's what happened last time. We dropped by 30%, or actually more realistically, I should draw this from the top over here, and so that gives us a floor of $35,000, according to this kind of drop that we saw right there. But realistically, I mean, are we going to get a drop like that? Well, we got to bear in mind that this massive, disgusting fall came because we had a ridiculous rally to the upside, where, I mean, in one straight leg the price more than doubled, and then from there we hit $65,000 very, very quickly, right? I mean, we didn't really get that. We had a real correction right here. We're in another real correction right now. The market right now, just like this leg in this market, just isn't as overextended as this leg. And I can prove this to you really easily, right? If we just look at the gradient, the angle of attack, so to speak, of this trend, you're going to get a really good idea of why, like I said, I haven't let go of this bullish case yet, because to me, this is pretty obvious. If we just draw a line of best fit from Bitcoin breaking out from the $20,000 level for the first time ever, almost exactly a year ago, about 375 days ago now, something like that, and we just draw a line of best fit up to this all-time high that Bitcoin set at $65,000, you can say that the angle of attack is something a little bit like this. I mean, this just generally agrees with most of the price action. We can take actually, do you know what? I mean, a moving average, which would prove this pretty well, right? Let's just take a look at some of these moving averages. Look at this moving average, pretty much bang on same gradient as my line. I can make my line a little bit less steep, and this basically shows us how steep the attack of the trend was, just generally. I'm not trying to be super specific. I'm only trying to prove a point here. And if we do the very same thing for this rally, it's actually fairly similar when I draw it this way, my bad. But we'll see the moving average just generally. If it updates, I don't think it would update in time. Yeah, it kind of does. We'll just generally see, if we trace this moving average, that the angle of attack isn't as extreme, right? And if I move these lines together, now is where you can really see the point. It's not as big of a difference that I thought it would be, actually, to be honest, so that's my mistake there. But you're still getting the same point, right? I thought this would be like a night and day difference. Not quite the same thing, but you can tell very clearly that the previous trend was just moving up in a much more extreme way than our current trend, right? And look, when we move in more extreme ways, we need more extreme corrections. So even this worst case scenario where I'm saying that this ASOL prediction stuff would still apply if Bitcoin fell to $35,000, we're just not in such a bad state in the market to even warrant that in the first place. And that's kind of what my argument rests on right now, guys. It's that people are really fearful. People are very, very scared in the market right now. The new people in this market, the people who are most likely to capitulate and sell off because they're getting scared, they only bought Bitcoin for one reason, which was to ride a speculative wave, and then they've just been sitting for the past 50 days, nearly 2 months, in a bear market. They're getting scared. I call this beautiful analogy of like a dagger, right? You're getting stabbed in the chest, and then you're twisting. The stab in the chest is the price drop right here, and then the consolidation is the dagger being twisted, and that's where it hurts even more. That's the salt that's being sprinkled onto the wound. And I think this is a really important thing to keep in mind, because we see the new money reacting this way, but we don't see the old money reacting this way. And again, like, the market is very fearful. You buy when there's blood in the streets, right? You know, we're at a support level where, I mean, it doesn't, this is the point that I'm making, is that it doesn't matter if Bitcoin drops even lower. This analysis is still valid. This is more so about a broader view of the market, where instead I could be looking at this on a weekly time frame or a monthly time frame even, because that's really where this indicator shines the best. Actually, I can't look at this on any other time frame, unfortunately, but I think the point standing to be very, very true. And I'm just wondering, if we look at like local lows on the ASOL, do we tend to see not quite, no, it doesn't really. So the small moves don't tend to mean too much, but it's the bigger trends that we really want to pay attention to, I think. You know, just showing us really where where people are beginning to sell off. And again, like, another interesting thing to keep in mind, right, is if you trace this rally up on the ASOL, you'll see that, like I said, the average age of the Bitcoins being moved around goes up, meaning that it's the older Bitcoins which are just gradually being moved around more than the younger Bitcoins. And that's important because it not only does it demonstrate that the older Bitcoins, the smarter Bitcoins, want to sell at the peaks, it more importantly demonstrates that the younger ones don't. And if the younger, stupid Bitcoins don't want to be selling at the peaks, but they want to be selling at the lows, again, this is the thing, is it tells you a lot about where the market could be, and I think it's an extremely important indicator because of that. I mean, there is a reason I paid 10K for this, and I anticipate that I'll keep on using it. There's a lot more stuff, so if you know about Glassnode, just let me know about other things you might want me to cover in this market right here. But guys, I am going to have to call it at the end of this video right here. Actually, before I do, I want to take a very quick look at 𝗪𝗏𝗡 just while we're talking about the ASOL indicator. I think this would also be a very interesting one to look at. You know, still super bearish on all time frames, really. Look at this on the 4-hour time frame. Yeah, I mean, this is too sensitive to actually draw a conclusion on. Oh, it's already set to 12. So yeah, most recently we got a sell signal right here, and that's still holding true. The daily time frame, I think, is the most important, and still, guys, still looking bearish, still looking pretty dangerous in this market. If you want to get 𝗪𝗏𝗡, it's linked in the description down below, so you can go ahead and check it out. But for now, guys, that is what I'm seeing in this market. I also want to highlight again VPAD. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculously crazy price action. Like, it's honestly, I don't see things like this too often, pretty much just rising up in a straight line. Now, I mean, like I said, this is amazing. I was fully expecting VPAD to pump up from this range when I covered it for you guys for the first time. But like I said, the key problem that VPAD is going to experience now is that if it does start to get a sell-off, it's not really going to have much support, right? I mean, there is a support area we can draw here, kind of between $1.24, $1.40. There's another one just in this general range that I could draw perhaps a little bit like this, ranging between $1.90 and $2. But the key problem is that if it drops down to this level and then fails the support, there's absolutely no support down until we reach about $1.40. So guys, keep this in mind. This is a massively overextended coin right now. I'm super happy with it, but I would be an idiot if I wasn't taking profits. So I have already taken some profits off the table, but I am still very happy with it. You guys already know the deal with Casta as well. I'm super bullish on it. I think it's going to perform just as well as this. So they are both linked in the description down below. And with that, guys, I do hope you've enjoyed this video. One final time, that Bybit campaign is going to be ending soon. If you want free money, you're going to get up to $4,100 completely free of charge just by signing up using my link in the description down below. Then go ahead and check it out. All you have to do is use that link, sign up, and make your first Bitcoin deposit. That's all going to take less than 10 minutes, and you're going to get up to $4,000 for free. It is absolutely ridiculous. So definitely check that out if you like free cash. And if you want to jump inside of 4Fly's VIP, start the next year off right, then check these steps out on screen as well. Click on the first link in the description down below, then the @4Flies button, and then send message. I just want to remind you guys, because it's been a very popular plan lately, is our annual membership. You're going to get a phone call with me, and yearly members have absolutely been loving it. Not one phone call, pretty much as many as you like, because nobody has ever abused that privilege. And I'm willing to do them literally whenever you like. If it becomes a problem, I'll cap it, but at the moment it's literally unlimited. So I mean, you know, if you wanted to do it weekly, we could do it. And the key thing about this is I like to have a call immediately after you join, understand what you do, give you some feedback, give you some pointers on things to study inside of the _Flies VIP group, because there's so much material that we give you which have literally changed lives, built traders up from 0 or from -20 into successful, consistently profitable traders. I'll point you towards the right things, for example, talk to you about your trading strategy, and we go really in depth. I mean, those phone calls can go as long as they need to, and then we can follow that up as well. So that is well worth checking out. Just between you and I, if you know, since you've made it towards the end of this YouTube video, I am actually right now looking at completely removing the monthly offer inside of VIP as well, and the primary reason for that is I want a bigger commitment from you guys. If you're joining this group, you know, a month is good. You're still going to get a really good understanding for what good, healthy trading looks like, in my opinion, because that's what I aim to do in these markets. But you know, having a long-term approach I think is much more important, because you're going to have that element of time pressure if there's just a month in VIP, and I don't want VIP to feel like that. So that is just a little bit of important information for you guys. I'm considering making a full decision on that literally tomorrow, on New Year's Day, on the 1st of January. So the monthly plan might not be there when you wake up, but the yearly plan is the one with the phone call, if you guys are interested in it. And guys, with that, I hope you have enjoyed this YouTube video. You know exactly what to do. Once again, I paid $10,000 for this, so I can't decide if I'm happy about that or sad about that just yet. I know for a fact that this indicator is going to be absolutely stunningly useful going back in time, and of course it's going to help you guys out as well. But make it worth it for me, guys. Do me a favor, smash up the like, subscribe, tick the bell, do all of that good stuff that supports this YouTube channel, and I'll see you all in the very next video. If I don't catch you again until the new year, then Happy New Year. Wishing you all a very prosperous 2022, and yeah, just enjoy time, whether it's with your family or friends, or if you're isolating because your country's extremely restrictive. No matter what, I hope you enjoy the new year, and yeah, stay safe, be healthy, all that good stuff. See you all in most likely 2022. Bye bye.